Alright, the next part of our great mission here is I'm just going to take some 1/4 by 1/4 hard ply, or you can use triangle stock if you want, and I'm just going to beef up where the wing plate area is. I'm going to put a stick on each side. I'm just going to epoxy all the sticks in there. You can do this, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to do this. I'm just going to mark where the top of it is. I'll cut it right there, and then I'm just going to take the same piece of wood, put that in, mark it there, and then come over the other side. So I'm just going to make 4 cuts at equal height or a little bit lower than what the top of the rib is here, and I'm going to cut them out, and I'm going to epoxy all 4 of those in. I got my pieces down there, as you can see, laid out into where they were going and what side goes up, just to make all this a little bit quicker of a process. And I'm just going to slap these babies right on in there. A little up and down motion, some glue them. Take a clamp, and I'm just using 2 pieces of 1/4 by 1/4. Triangle stock in each corner is fine as well. Just using some 5-minute epoxy. And this is going to work out just dandy. I went ahead and just drew out a little template basically. There's where my servo hole is, and a piece of ply that I'm going to use. I'm going to set the ply right down here with the hole in it, and then I'm going to put my rails right above it. That's going to stiffen up the 1/16 piece here, also give it a little coating. The servo is going to sit upside down, coming from the inside out. It'll be sitting like this inside the plane, and the bottom will be hanging out the bottom of the wing to operate your ailerons. So I'm going to make 2 plates like this. Just make the size hole for your servo. Just put a servo down, draw a square around it, just a couple pieces of ply, and where the tabs are going to be, just so we can screw it down onto something strong. Alright, I went and made my 2 plates now. They're going to fit right inside the base here. They're going to lay right down on the wood. I'm going to zap them right down to that. First thing you want to do before you zap anything is just make sure that your servo is going to fit in there. So the servo fits good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just measure out where I want these to be. Both sides. The important thing about a wing is to make sure whatever you do, you want to do the same thing on both sides of the aircraft, because you want your wing to balance this way as much as you do the plane. So if you pick that up by the 2 points, you want it to kind of be somewhat balanced. You can see I got a little bit of right weight going on there. It could just be the way I'm holding it. That looks pretty good actually. So whatever you do on one side, you want to do on the other side. That way you keep things equal, things stay balanced, everything stays nice. So now I'm just going to measure my marks from where the back of the wing saddle is to the first servo rail, or actually even the servo cutout hole. Go from the very back spar. Looks like that's what's going there. And we just want to be approximate because we can always use a longer rod. Looks like 3 inches. So now from the very back of this spar here, laying it flat, I'm going to go to the 3-inch mark, and that's where I want the hole to start. So right there. Oh, nope. Right there. That's 3 inches. I don't know what the hell that was looking at. So that's where that one's going to go. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And then 3 inches right to the opening of the servo hole is where I want to be. And that's right there. Good to go. Just going to take some CA now. And I'm going to zap all around the outside of this. And we'll take it from there. Alright, what I went and did here is I had my plate down here. I just went and drew an outline around it so I can pick my piece right up. I'm just going to run a bead of zap down the inside. Now I'm going to try not to get any zap too close to where the servo hole is. It's bound to happen anyway. But I'm going to be cutting that out, so I don't want it to seep too far into the hole, just so it's a little easier on the knife to get through it. But I'm just going to put this side down, hold it for a couple seconds, just going to let it sit. I'm going to let that thing do its thing. I'm going to put it in the other side, and that's how we get these plates onto the wood. Next we're going to go ahead and put our cross dowels in. Alright, using the same method that I put this down here, I just came up with a wing of an idea. And I'm going to be putting a 1/4-inch stick here right across. So I thought I'd use the same type of piece of ply. I just cut one equal and put it across the side, so when I put my square block in here. It's going to rest on both of them. That way I don't have to worry about trying to balance one end up. So I did that on both sides. So if you want to throw in this, you can. If not, don't worry about it. But that's what I did anyway, because I'm funny like that sometimes. Alright, now I'm going to take a measurement for my wing spars, or the servo rails. So now I'm just going to put it across the back, and I basically just want to get somewhat close to just a little lip, maybe about 1/8 behind where the hole opens up here. And then I'm just going to come over and put it there vertically, because this is going to sit up flush against both ribs. And now I'm going to mark that piece right where it comes to that inside rib. If I can function with a camera and a pencil. Oh, look at that. So that's where I want that mark. Now I'll cut that. You have to do each one individually in case your ribs moved a little bit. One might be just a hair longer or shorter than the other, and you want it to be flush. So just cut each. There's going to be 2 rails here and 2 rails over here. And you just want them to be perfectly flush against both sides, so that'll all tighten up. Now because I want this to be such a nice snug fit, what I'm going to do is I cut it a little bit above the line purposely, so then I can just come back and lightly give it one sand shot at a time on the old sandpaper here. And I'm just going to do this. Just a light sanding. I'm trying to do this one-handed, that's why it's weird, awkward. But just do that and then keep coming back and checking the fit until it fits nice and snug. And sometimes you can just go to a different part, and maybe it fits there better and you're already done with that piece, and you can just cut that same piece over again. And there it is, snug to a nice tight, where I can almost not even move it by that. But at the same time, notice the ribs aren't bowing out. I don't want the ribs to bow at all. I just want it to be snug in there, and I'm going to put in the next piece. And I got both rails in there. Both are nice and snug. Gotta like that. And they're not even glued yet. Like I said, there's just a little tight pressure in there. You can move the piece. Now I'm going to come over. I already did one here. Just got one more left to go. And I got both of my servo rails in. Got my plates in. So now the very next thing I'm going to do is just go right ahead and glue that all in. So I'm going to take my CA first. I'm going to go around the entire outer perimeter of this just to give it some more support. Tighten some things up. And right down the rib, connecting that all to that. I want to make sure I don't glue these in because I'm going to epoxy my rails in. And do the same thing over on this side. Got some new CA today. I'm a happy man. Alright. So like I said, you don't want to glue like this on the inside because we're going to cut that inside out for the servo. Alright, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to epoxy my rails right in. And I like to do the rails up close next to the hole here, so I can try and pick that up with the screw on the servo as an extra support for the servo, even though this is plenty fine by itself. Alright, so we're going to epoxy in the rails next, and that's the next time you'll see. Take a piece of wood, stick that underneath where your wing bolt plate is, and just push the wing down flush against this piece of wood just underneath it. And then you're going to take a drill bit for the size of your hole. You might want to start a little small. Follow the angle of the wood, or your dowel hole, and just drill a hole, or punch a hole through the bottom of the sheet here. So you got a hole coming out the bottom for your wing dowel. And also, with a sharp blade, while you're doing this, you might as well go ahead and cut out the servo tray. And I just want to follow the edges. And then you want to test fit your servo tray, See if I can get my servo in there. Alright, servo fits in good. So that's how it's going to be. You're going to want the arm of your servo coming toward the outside bay. So you want this arm right here going out towards the opening. Alright, I've checked the fit of my other servo hole. So my servo fits in good there. I got my dowel, or my bolt hole cut out, or drilled back out. Got my other servo hole done. I've already checked the servo in. So I'm just going to pull that servo out. And now the last thing I want to do before I sheet the inside here. I just run a wire or string, like I said, through both bays and then end up in the center, because that's where I'm going to reach down and get this, and then I'll pull both of the wires through with that when the time comes.